Jamuna tira vanachari.
Gopijana vallabha girivaradhari. Yashodanandana brajajana ranjana. Yashodanandana brajajana ranjana. Yamuna tira vanachari. Yamuna tira vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jaya Radha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shataśrī Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. This is 2:8. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvannmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. We are reciting from the second canto, 8th chapter, 24th verse. sarvam etac bhagavan pṛcchato me nupūrvaśaḥ tattvato rhasy udāhartuṁ prapannāya mahā-mune sarvam etac bhagavan pṛcchato me nupūrvaśaḥ tattvato rhasy udāhartuṁ prapannāya mahā-mune sarvam etac bhagavan pṛcchato me nupūrvaśaḥ tattvato rhasy udāhartuṁ prapannāya mahā-mune. sarvam etac bhagavan pṛcchato me nupūrvaśaḥ tattvato rhasy udāhartuṁ prapannāya mahā-mune sarvam etac bhagavan pṛcchato me nupūrvaśaḥ tattvato rhasy udāhartuṁ prapannāya. Matajis, please. Sarvam etac bhagavan pṛcchato me nupūrvaśaḥ tattvato rhasy udāhartuṁ prapannāya mahā-mune. Sarvam etac bhagavan pṛcchato me nupūrvaśaḥ tattvato rhasy udāhartuṁ prapannāya mahā-mune. Sarvam etac bhagavan pṛcchato me nupūrvaśaḥ tattvato rhasy udāhartuṁ prapannāya. Sarvam, all this, etac, inquiries, cha, also that I have not been able to ask. Bhagavan, O great sage, pṛcchato, of the inquisitive, me, myself, nupūrvaśaḥ, from the beginning, tattvato, just in accordance with the truth, rhasy, may kindly be explained, udāhartuṁ, as you will let know, prapannāya, one who is surrendered, mahā-mune, O great sage. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. O great sage, representative of the Lord, kindly satisfy my inquisitiveness in all that I have inquired from you and all that I may not have inquired from you from the very beginning of my questionings. Since I am a soul surrendered unto you, please impart full knowledge in this connection. Purport: the spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, and specifically when the disciple is very inquisitive. Inquisitiveness on the part of a disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple. Mahārāja Parīkṣit is a typical disciple because he is perfectly inquisitive. If one is not very inquisitive about self-realization, one need not approach a spiritual master simply to make a show of discipleship. Not only is Mahārāja Parīkṣit inquisitive concerning all he has inquired about, but he is also anxious to know about what he has not been able to inquire. Factually, it is not possible for a man to inquire about everything from the spiritual master. But the bona fide spiritual master is able to enlighten the disciple in every way for the disciple's benefit. I seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees here so that I may say some few words about the inquisitiveness and the importance of sincere inquiry in spiritual life that Srila Prabhupada is speaking here. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the beginning itself, whether it is Parīkṣit Maharaj asking a couple of very important questions to Shukadeva Goswami, or Shaunaka Rishi is asking 6 questions to Suta Goswami. That itself is evident. You can see, if they didn't ask the questions, then where is the answer? There is a spiritual inquisitiveness. We see right from the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Parīkṣit asked the question, Ata pṛcchāmi samsiddham yoginām paramam gurum puruṣasyeha yat kāryam mriyamānasya sarvada. He said, what is the duty of a dying man and what is the duty of people in general? And then he also asked, what should be heard what should be remembered, what should be glorified, what should not be heard, what should not be remembered, and what should not be glorified. So 4 questions he asked. And amazingly, Shukadeva Goswami answered the last question first. He said, what should not be heard, what should not be remembered. You may wonder, why don't you say what is to be heard? Nowadays people talk a lot about being positive. Talk only the good things, don't talk about bad things. Sanatana Goswami in one place says that we should know the right conduct and wrong conduct. And having understood both, one should pick the right conduct. Based on the discrimination after seeing both. Yes, it is true when you go to a garden, you can say the garden is full of, fragrant roses. Or you may say the garden is full of thorny bushes. These are 2 different paradigms. But it is good to know that garden is full of fragrant roses surrounded by thorny bushes, so that we can be very careful while plucking the flower for Lord's service. So we don't hurt our fingers. So we are living in the material world. So that is the reason acharyas who have no propensity for prajalpa at all, still acharyas sometimes condemn the materialism and materialistic activities performed by demons and such things, in order to warn the disciples not to get dragged by that. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Krishna Samhita 21 demons, while explaining, in those days the Srimad Bhagavatam was taken very cheaply by learned scholars who thought of Srimad Bhagavatam to be not so exalted, meant for ordinary people. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to show them these pastimes of Krishna are not only meant for the small little children. You make some little Krishna movie and show them. The pastimes of Krishna performed in Vrindavan have a very great significance. He showed that our heart is Vrindavan, where there is a golden throne for the divine couple to sit. But just as in the home of Vrindavan we see many demons coming, and they are all killed one by Krishna, in the same manner in our heart also many demons come. And those demons have to be rooted out by firmly taking shelter of Krishna. So that's how in Krishna Samhita he explains about. So it's a very beautiful combination. You will see, on one hand, when you read the Krishna Leela, it is so juicy and very satisfying to the heart. And you also come to know, oh, there is also anartha in my heart, which I have to drive out. Artha pravritti and anartha nivritti, both take place simultaneously. We benefit in that. Just like you take Kaliya, Krishna dancing on Kaliya. Above Kaliya's hoods, there is a festival going on. Krishna is dancing very beautifully, demigods are showering flowers, Gandharvas are playing instruments, Gopas, Gopis, cows, calves, all of them with dilated eyes are watching the pastime with great joy. Every limb of Krishna's bodily movement and his smile and his movement of his eyebrows and his charming face is enchanting the hearts of everybody in the universe except one fellow who is Kaliya. So that is above Kaliya's hoods. Such a festival was happening. Everybody is describing, look at the Kasturi Tilakam on Krishna's forehead, look at his smile, look at his enchanting eyes and everything. But below Krishna's lotus feet, Kaliya was under a terrible attack by Krishna's lotus feet. Although his lotus feet is so soft, still Kaliya felt the weight of the whole universe on him, because Krishna carries the whole universe in his belly. So he felt very heavy weight. So there was purification going below Krishna's lotus feet and ecstatic glorification going on above. And in Govardhan Lila it is reverse. Below the Govardhan hill, Rasaraj under Giriraj. He is enjoying pastime. But above the Govardhan hill, purification was going on. So these pastimes are wonderful. So you will see a combination of both. On one hand, pure devotees feel great ecstasy, ecstatic love when they hear these pastimes. And growing devotees get a combination of purification and ecstasy, joy, both. And those who are very demoniac get thorough purification. So in this way, That's why Parīkṣit asked the question. And as soon as he made that inquiry, Shukadeva Goswami said, Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrashaha Apashyatam Atmatattvam Griheshu Grihamedhinam Dehapatya Kalatradishu Atmasainyeshva Satsvapi Tesham Pramatto Nidhanam Pashyanapi na Pashyati. Even though people see in this world all the people who are all around us apparently protecting us, apparently sheltering us, apparently giving us the hope and confidence that they are there for us, they all will be out one by one, and we will be alone. And therefore one should not become stupid in ignorance by discussing the materialistic subject matter of the material world. And there in that Prabhupada writes about everybody is in this world inquiring, businessmen are inquiring how to make more money, stock exchange. Students are inquiring how to get more marks, how to crack the examination. Everybody is talking about something. Birds are waking up in the morning, making sounds. Where is my food? Where is my mate? They are also asking questions. And lawyers are asking questions. Engineers are asking questions. Doctors are asking questions. Everywhere the world is filled with questions and answers. But all those are material subject matter. And there is one very special verse in Bhagavatam which says, the whole material world is simply a conglomeration of matter, ultimately, which is all apparently shown to be having a variety and differently named. But ultimately they are one conglomeration of one whole substance, pradhan. Etac kavirnam asuyavadartha syada pramatto vyavasaya buddhihi siddhen nitarte nayate tatra parishramam tatra samikshamanaha. This verse says that intelligent devotees know that you may name the things differently. You may say Colgate plus plus, you may say this is a pen, you may say this is a smartphone, this is a car, this is a bungalow, so many things. But ultimately when the pralaya comes, they all are merged into one substance. You will see that. And they have no value. So in this world one should not struggle or endeavor for accumulating material goods which are here today, gone tomorrow. So one should not be fascinated by them, by the glitter and glamour of the world. Rather one should be attracted to the name of the Lord and form of the Lord and His pastimes which are everlasting, eternal, imperishable and worthy of contemplation. So in this way, and that is why he told him what should not be heard in the beginning. Why? Shukadeva Goswami knows very well that the nature of the material world is we are always surrounded by material vibrations which are always bombarding us from all directions. And one has to be very watchful, careful, and one should withdraw oneself from them. And then, of course, you can't isolate yourself from them, but we have to insulate ourselves from them. And how do we insulate? By putting a insulating covering around ourselves, which is Krishna Katha, Hari Katha. So then he answered the other questions also. So in this way, inquiry brings forth answers and more deeper understanding, more broader perspectives, and understanding from multiple angles, from various angles. Prabhupada wanted us to scrutinizingly study the Srimad Bhagavatam purports that he has given us. For example, say you hear the pastime of Ajamila going to forest and seeing a bad sight and then he fell down. Immediately one can think, Narada also went to Mandakini Ganga in the North India, where Nalakur Manigriv were playing in those waters with goddesses, and all of them are practically nude with liquor bottles in their hand. Did Narada not see a dirty sight? As Ajamila saw, why did Narada didn't fall down? But Ajamila fell down. We have to ask such questions inquisitively. And what about Shukadeva Goswami, who, as soon as he took birth, Yam prajantam anupetam upeta krityam dvaipayano virahakatara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo binedustam sarva bhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. Like that, Sudha Goswami is offering obeisances to his guru, Shukadeva Goswami, telling that as soon as he was born, he actually walked towards the forest. So while walking towards the forest, he saw there were some ladies taking in a bath in a pond, which was actually meant for only women. So the women were practically having no clothes in their bodies. They were taking bath there. And when he was walking on the road, the woman observed that Shukadeva is exactly like resembling a small child, innocent child. Sometimes the innocent child may be sitting on father's side, and sometimes the child will go to the mother's side. In Bhagavatam classes we see sometimes. Again will come back to father's side. And nobody minds it. They know it's a little child. Sometimes want to be with the father, sometimes wants to be with the mother. But imagine if somebody is a 15-year-old boy, he is sitting on men's side, sometimes goes to Mataji's side and sits there. People will think his nut has gone loose. They'll become frightened. Who is this fellow? Because once you grow beyond 12 or 13, it is understood that, there are certain improper things that develop in the mind due to conditionings in the material world. But here is Shukadeva Goswami, who is 16 years old, is completely pure, unaffected by any trace of lust. And the women could see that. The women, therefore when Vyasadeva asked, they told Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva asked, I am fit enough to be your grandfather. As soon as he saw me, you are wearing clothes. And the Shukadeva is practically naked because he is an avaduta. He is walking, and how is it that you all didn't, feel uneasy by his passing? So they said, your son knows not the difference between male and female. He doesn't know the difference between one metal body and other body, because he doesn't see the difference between male and female. He sees difference between body and soul, which is real difference. The real difference is between body and soul, not between male and female. Otherwise, male bodies, female bodies, all are made up of the same substance in this world. So, because Shukadeva Goswami had Jnana Chakshu, and Narada had Prema Chakshu, and Ajamila had Avidya Chakshu. So when you compare like this and study from different angles, then Bhagavatam will become very interesting. Then you can make inquiries. Like you see, you are studying about Dhruva's austerities. We are studying about Hiranyakashipu's austerities. In the same Bhagavatam you find. You are studying about Saubhari Muni's austerities. So we can compare the austerities of different people. Like if you see, Saubhari Muni performed severe austerity. Even Pṛcchatas performed austerity underwater. Two fellows performed austerities underwater. Pṛcchatas and Saubhari Muni. Both were underwater. And for us, both fellows' practice is difficult for us. Underwater. You can't stay beyond 2 minutes, 3 minutes underwater. But then what is the difference? Pṛcchatas got Lord Shiva as their guru. Charachara Guru, Lord Shiva became their spiritual master and taught them the form of the personality of Godhead, very beautiful form. Snigdha pravridghanashyamam sarva saundarya sangraham charu ayata chaturbaham sujata ruchirananam. So in this way he explained to them, meditate on this form of Vishnu, who has four bluish hands, he has a mukut and kundal and smiling face, eyes like lotus petals, and meditate on his pitambara and the lotus feet and all that. So they were meditating, absorbed in that form. And most importantly, they practiced devotional service cooperatively under the water. And Vishnu came and gave them Ashtabhuja Rupa, beautiful darshan he gave them. Whereas Saubhari Muni, while practicing his sadhana, he got into a clash with one very important devotee of the Lord. Who is that? Garuda. We are also practicing the sadhana. We have to be very careful not to cross with anybody. Like I want to drive my car on the road, I have to be respectful to other cars also. Not that I have a big car, I have a Innova car and other fellow has a Maruti car. I go and hit him. I hit him and go ahead, police will stop both the cars. And the police will say, come, go to the side now. 2 hours you cannot move now. So in the path of bhakti, when we make some little progress, if I become proud and if I offend other devotees, then progress becomes checked and choked. So we can't progress further. So that's what happened with Saubhari Muni, got into trouble by cursing this thing. And Hiranyakashipu performed a severe penance, but he didn't meditate on the personality of Godhead. He was chanting Om Brahmadevaya Namah. He was worshipping a demigod. And Saubhari Muni was meditating on impersonal Brahman. And Hiranyakashipu had material motivations for his meditation. He had a long list of items to be sought from Brahma, isn't it? And Dhruva Maharaj, yes, it's true, he also came with material motives, but there is a very big difference. His material motivations got nullified by meditation on Vishnu form. This is the beauty. It's like, imagine you have a barrel full of hay. You've seen yellow hay? Yellow hay, you fill it up in a barrel and just put one spark of fire. It just burns everything away. Similarly, we may have a humpty number of material desires, but you put Vishnu inside, Vishnu in our heart, that becomes our prime focus. That Vishnu burns away all the material desires and renders the heart pure. Yannama shruti matrena puman bhavati nirmalaha. He says, a person's heart becomes nirmal by nama shruti. Nama shruti is non-different from meditation on Vishnu. Both are same. So, because Lord is non-different from His name, so in this way Dhruva got purified. So out of these 4 examples, 2 persons got the blessing and favor of the Lord. Who? Dhruva and pṛcchato. The other 2 fellows got into trouble. Hiranyakashipu and Saubhari Muni. So in this way, when we study the Srimad Bhagavatam, we can compare, we can contrast, we can see from different angles. One another example I'll tell you. Shukadeva Goswami is saying, how is it that Bharat Maharaj, who was so detached, he left his queen and sons and kingdom and elephants and horses, the royal kingdom, everything, that too at the prime of his youth, not in old age. He was at prime of his youth. He left everything and went to the forest. With what mood he went to forest? It is said, Yodus tyajam darasutan suhridrajyam hridisprishah jahau yuvaiva malavat uttama shloka lalasaha. This verse says, jahau means he gave it up. Yuvaiva, yuva means at his prime of his youth. Malavat, he says. See, in the Bhagavatam, the gold is also called as yellow stool in Bhagavatam. Why? Because as soon as we pass stool, we throw water and make sure it goes down. And we don't even look at it. We come out of the washroom immediately. Similarly, you will see, although we may possess gold, we leave it behind for our other generation and we go ahead for them to enjoy. Because we cannot carry it with us. Therefore, gold is also compared to stool in Bhagavatam. Like that. So, he literally considered all his possessions to be like stool and he left it. It is said. That much. See the word virakti in Sanskrit, Prabhupada says, it is not giving up things. Virakti means losing taste for sense enjoyment. Prabhupada says. Vigata raga, Vishesha raga, 2 types of raga. When one has Vishesha raga, one can practice Vigata raga. Vigata raga means giving up things, not just giving up things, but losing taste for them. And Vishesha raga means love for Krishna. By developing love for Krishna, one can give up the things of the world without any kind of reluctance or without any kind of lamentation that I am giving up these things. One can happily give up the things of the world. That's how he gave up and went to forest. But then Shukadeva Goswami is raising a question. How is it such a person became attached to a deer and he fell down? It must be definitely his prarabdha karma. Like that he says. And in that purport, Prabhupada says, it is not due to prarabdha karma of Bharat Maharaj that he fell down. It is only due to his willful neglect that he fell down. Prabhupada writes. So any reader of Bhagavatam will be shocked. One Acharya says, he is prarabdha karma. Another Acharya says, it's willful neglect. Now which of this is true? And Prabhupada is outrightly rejecting that idea. One may think like that. If you go and ask Prabhupada, Prabhupada says, there is no contradiction in the scriptures. Prabhupada says, it is only due to our neophyteness we see contradiction. Now how do we resolve this? You see, it is definitely true that we all carry conditionings from the previous life which impel us to act in a certain way. That is called the prarabdha karma. But by intensifying our sadhana, by increasing the fire of the sadhana, we can defeat those conditionings. So, but if we don't intensify the sadhana, if you are going to be a little careless, it's like a driver of a car, he dozes while driving the car. He is a little careless, then he gets, hit by a vehicle or something, and there is an accident. So alertness is required, and that's what Prabhupada is warning us. Because it is very easy for us to dump our problem on the prarabdha karma and say, see, my prarabdha karma is bad, Prabhu, what can I do? Otherwise, I am a wonderful devotee, but prarabdha karma is bad, you see. We have a tendency to pass the buck and put it on the prarabdha karma and say, I am a good soul. Therefore, Prabhupada is always telling us, take responsibility in your spiritual life. Don't push the blame on someone else. By passing blame on someone else, then the result is what? There is no possibility of coming out of the problems. So Prabhupada is an Acharya who wants to teach us that, get out of the problem by taking responsibility. It is possible for you to nullify your conditionings by taking responsibility for your sadhana properly. And don't be willfully neglectful. So both are saying the same thing. Because by our endeavor and Krishna's grace, we succeed in life. Correct, no? I sow the seed, Krishna gives the rains. I give the interview, panel chooses me for the job. I write the exam, and the teacher gives me marks. Similarly, did I do my sadhana well? If Bharatmar is asking, sorry, a sad no. Because while doing my sadhana, I became attracted to a deer and then became careless. Anyway, we are talking about the deer. So, I will show you a deer which is an alert deer. But you have to very attentively watch it. If you are not attentive, you will miss it. See, does it look any danger here? You don't see any danger here. Everything normal, no? Even a bird is sitting beautifully in the sides. Everything looks normal. Just watch what happens now. He's drinking water, but the very alert deer is. See how much you can... Now they will show it in slow motion. Very attentively observe how the deer jumps. You will see that. Now they will show in slow motion, same thing. And how much the crocodile came out of water, you will see now. Now you watch it, they will show it now. See here. When he comes, the deer not only jumps back, he lifts the hind legs, he lifts up. You saw that? You see how alert? So I was so thrilled when I saw this. Yeah. Now I also want to learn to jump like this. Escape. Isn't it how intelligent deer it is? See, the deer has to go to water to drink water. Without that, he can't maintain his life. He has to go to water. At the same time, he has to be alert also. So we have to live in the world. You can't run away from the world. But while living in the world, we have to be intelligent not to get caught like this. So that's what Prabhupada is telling. Willful neglect shouldn't be there. A careless person gets carried away. So now, in this way, when we have multiple angles with which, because ours is Achintya Bheda philosophy. So if we are not learning the art of seeing from multiple angles, we are going to become fanatical, hold on to one side, and criticize the devotees who are on the other side. That is likely to happen. So therefore, inquisitiveness is very good. With that inquisitiveness, we will be able to study the Bhagavatam very nicely. Now, inquisitiveness should be utilized for self-improvement. That is one of the very important things. Like you will see here. Here you see this Raghunath Das, Antilila, 6th chapter. You find when he invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for prasad, it is said here that with the money sent by his parents, Raghunath Das invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for lunch twice a month at his home for 2 years. And then, but later he stopped, thinking it to be improper. That means when I am practicing my Krishna consciousness, I should not go with the motion just year after year after year. I have to stop and think back, look back and see, what am I doing in my spiritual life? It is actually called as Simhavalokam. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, every Ekadashi to Ekadashi, we should take a survey or performance appraisal of our spiritual practices. Okay, in the last 2 weeks, did I intensify my spiritual life? Or did I maintain the status quo? Or did I degrade? Yeah, any of the three is possible, correct, no? For example, in the last 2 weeks, I had too many preaching programs. Probably I am becoming too greedy in the name of preaching and giving others more preaching than polishing myself. At one time when I was 48 years old, I called the Pune managers and told them that, you see, now you are all grown up now. If you can form a team and you all can, we had formed one team in those days called, VPB used to call it, which is Vice President's Board in Pune. I told them, you are 5 of you. If you can run Pune temple and give me some freedom, I can go and study in GEV. So they all discussed and they said, yes, Prabhu, you can do that. 2 years already. But it will be nice if you keep coming in between for vital matters we can discuss. So every weekend I used to come. Monday to Friday in GEV and Saturday, Sunday in Pune. Like that I did. So 5 days, morning 3 hours we will study 10 to 1 and afternoon 3 to 6 revision. And the next day morning test. And chapter, one chapter of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam has totally 334 chapters. Bhagavatam. So in this way we completed Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. I did in 2 years. So weekend when I would come, I will have 7, 8 programs in the weekend. Like Saturday 4 programs, Sunday 4 programs like that. Whatever I had in weekdays, I pushed it to the weekend. So, but I can honestly tell you, those 2 years were very valuable for me. So His Grace Bhima Prabhu called me from Juhu and said, Radheshyam, why are you going to GV? Are you going to teach or are you going to learn? He asked me. I said, Prabhu, I'm going to learn. He said, what's your age? He asked me. I said, I'm 48. I said. He said, you know, you are so senior. What do you think you have to learn that? He said, I said, I want to improve the quality of my sound vibration. I said, I have a tendency to be like a chatterbox. Speak so many things here and there, go this way, that way. If I have to present something valuable to people and to benefit myself also, then I should get myself trained. And he told him, I'm not only going for knowledge. There are wonderful devotees like Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, people like that, Balram Shakti Prabhu, Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, many wonderful, Gauranga Prabhu himself stays there. And many of my seniors like Radha Gopinath Prabhu and all come there to GV. My spiritual master also stays. So I told, I also want to take out some time for growing myself. Not that I just think I am self-sufficient, I am great soul, I have a halo around my head, like we say, holier than thou attitude. If I have that attitude, this Gadi will not go on for a long time. We should always think how I can improve from where I am. You know, this Steve Jobs wrote a book, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. Actually, if I always think I am foolish, I have a scope to become more and more wiser. If I am always hungry for spiritual wisdom from various devotees, and I firmly believe that Krishna can speak through various Vaishnavas, and every Vaishnava is carrying Krishna in their hearts, so they are all sincere souls, and we hear from them, maybe they are junior, maybe they are equal, they can be anybody, then we have a scope to blossom in our spiritual life also. So those 2 years were very valuable for me. So here Raghunath Das, you will see, he is refining and refining and refining. See, he stopped after 2 years. He didn't call Mahaprabhu. And the most wonderful thing is Mahaprabhu will not ask Raghunath Das, hey, why are you not calling me? He won't ask him. He will ask whom? Sarva Damodar. He has his personality. He knows how to approach the matters. So he will not directly catch a person, hey, why are you not calling me? He asked Sarva Damodar. Sarva Damodar told him, my dear Lord, he thinks like this. This is the thought of Raghunath Das. Vishayira annakaile malinahayaman malinamana hailanahe Krishna rasmaran. So Mahaprabhu said, I know why Raghunath Das is not calling me, because his father and uncle are Vaishnavas, but they are not proper Vaishnavas. They are like, what do you call it, like pious materialists. Pious materialists. So what is the difference between a pious materialist and a proper Vaishnava? A proper Vaishnava is sold out to Krishna. Proper Vaishnava has given the heart to Krishna and utilize every moment in Krishna's service. Whereas pious materialist Vaishnava means they have dozen ways to improve their material life and they add Krishna as a 13th way, one more way, like that. So, because for pious people, they are the center and they use Krishna for their purpose. Whereas Vaishnava means for them Krishna is the center. Tat sukhi sukitvam. They find happiness in Krishna's happiness. So therefore, Raghunath Das said, no, I will not take money from my family. He didn't take. Later on, he gave up. Later on, giving up, begging at Simhadwar. Then he started begging at Simhadwara for some time. And that also he gave up. Why? Because Mahaprabhu glorified it. He said, see, if he is begging from people, he will always evaluate people. This fellow looks like a rich man, maybe he will give charity, and he may not give. It's a Veshya vritti, it is said, prostitution. So he gave up that. Then later on he will find he accepted whatever prasad was given in the booth, in a counter. Later on he gave up that also. Then the Tailanga cows would come to eat, and he would, whatever portion were hard, burnt, they wouldn't eat. From that he would take the inner portion of that and add some salt to that and water to that, and he will eat that. And Mahaprabhu personally went to meet Raghunath Das and wanted to taste, he said, I want to taste the nectar what you are eating. Exactly what he was tasting was his renunciation. And the picture you see here, Mahaprabhu, pleased with the austerities of Raghunath Das, gave him these two gifts, one Gunjamala and Govardhan Shila, which he personally touched to his eyes with tears, touched to his head, touched to his chest. So that finger, thumb impression of Lord Chaitanya is also present in that Govardhan Shila. Mahaprabhu gave these two gifts, pleased with Raghunath Das's attitude. And Raghunath Das also had asked questions to Mahaprabhu about the renunciate orders dharma. Mahaprabhu said, Balna kaive, balna paribe, hrudete sarvada Radha Krishna sevibe, gramya varta na kahibe, gramya varta na shunibe. So 6 instructions Mahaprabhu had given. So here is an example of a personality who is refining his spiritual life. So the more we make an effort to refine, the super soul in our heart is very pleased. So naturally, he is ready to give us more and more intelligence to act appropriately. And Parīkṣit Maharaja's inquisitiveness is very much glorified in Bhagavatam. I will say a couple of examples on Parīkṣit and I will conclude my talk. Parīkṣit, when he heard Shukadeva Goswami wrapping up the big pastime of Kaliya Daman Leela in just one shloka, 1 or 2 shlokas, he said, there was a snake named Kaliya who came to Vrindavan and took shelter of Yamuna, and Krishna danced on his hoods and drove him out, that's all. But then he said, who is Kaliya? Where he came from? Why did he take shelter of Yamuna? How did Krishna dance on it? And, how he drove him out. Please tell me everything very elaborately. He said, don't think I may be thirsty or I may be hungry or I may be tired. 7 days, 7 nights, I have not eaten or slept or drunk water. Don't think like that. He said, your Krishna Katha is giving me nourishment. I am very happy and satisfied. So tell me all pastimes as elaborately as possible. So this is an example of enthusiasm, spiritual enthusiasm. So the more the audience is enthusiastic for hearing, the more the speaker becomes empowered to speak valuable things also. Prabhupada says in one place. So just like Sutta Goswami speaking to Shaunaka rishis, they all glorified him. Tanno bhavan vai bhagavat pradhano mahattamaikantam parayanasya hare udāhartuṁ charitam vishuddham shushrushatam no vitano tu vidvan. 3 words are very important in this verse. They are saying you are Bhagavat Pradhan and we are Shushushatam. And Lord Hari is Udaram. 3 words he is saying. You are pure devotee who has no other goal in life other than Krishna's lotus feet. And we are Shushushatam. We are very eager to hear Krishna Katha. And Lord Hari is magnanimous in performing his... Prabhupada says Lord Hari is magnificent and magnanimous, both. Magnificent means like pastimes like Vamanadeva, magnificent pastimes. And magnanimous means very merciful to the devotees. So, therefore, we want to hear such pastimes, they are saying. And Sutta Goswami was little doubtful whether these Brahmanas who are performing Karmakanda will be interested in my Bhagavad Katha. He wanted little confirmation from them. They said, Shukadevji, Sutta Goswami ji, you don't know, our face is becoming blackened by the carbon soot coming from the Yajna Kund. And the result of this yajna is not certain, whether we will attain heaven or not, and how long we will live in heaven and all those things. But hearing your Bhagavad Katha, we are developing confidence and taste, and we are feeling the results have already started coming in our life, from the way you are narrating the Katha. So they are also very enthusiastic. Vayam na vidrupyama uttama shloka vikrame yata shinbatam yarsa jnanam swadu swadu pade. That verse also says about this. So Parīkṣit, so Shaunaka Rishi is very enthusiastic audience. One last thing about Parīkṣit is very attentive. Very attentive. When Shukadeva Goswami said that after the Agasur Leela was over, 1 year later, the boys narrated this pastime to their parents. Like that he just said in one verse. And Parīkṣit heard it well and asked, why after 1 year? Why not the same day? And Shukadeva Goswami closed his eyes and went to Samadhi. And all the audience, they were shocked. What happened? It was not an inappropriate question. Then everybody took all the instruments and started doing kirtans, bhajans. When they did the kirtans, then Shukadeva Goswami came to external consciousness because he had attained Samadhi by remembering the pastime of Krishna standing with the curd rice in the hand with pickles and fruits tucked between the fingers and looking innocently, where are the calves, where are my cowherd boys, under a tree. So that sight came to Shukadeva Goswami's heart. Remembering that Brahma Vimana Leela pastime, he got lost in the pastime. Then he came to external consciousness and spoke the pastime and told Parīkṣit, thank you Parīkṣit for reminding me of this wonderful Leela of the Lord. I was about to miss it, but you reminded me of this because of your intelligent inquiry. So inquiry should be intelligent, it should be done with the desire to improve, for self-improvement. It should be made, inquiry should be made in such a way that we can see the Srimad Bhagavatam from multiple angles. Therefore, Krishna says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasena sevaya. He says, don't make inquiries without seva. Then you will not be able to comprehend the truths. When you render service, I heard one lecture from my spiritual master, he said, no realizations without service. Actually, we need some superior from whom we accept service, because that superior is giving on behalf of the Guru Parampara. We take the service and we do it faithfully for the pleasure of Hari Guru Vaishnavas. When we earn that pleasure, then we get the eyes to see the Bhagavatam and understand the reality of the spiritual truths. So, Srila Prabhupada always had a question to his spiritual master, how can I serve you? That was one special prerogative of Prabhupada. Another qualification he had, which Guru himself spelled out, he likes to hear. These two things will let us keep in mind. Always let us have a taste to hear and let us keep asking this question, how can I serve you? Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki. I can take some discussions, questions. Yeah, we have a mic. There is no mic available, I think. Is there a mic available? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Question is, he's asking Vishnu, Narayan, and many names we call. See, Narayan means Nara Ayana. That's the way you divide the Sanskrit words. Nara means, all of us are called Naras. Ayana means repository. Or like a navel of Narayana, all the jivas stay. You know Garbhodaksha Vishnu. When there is pralaya, annihilation, so we all stay in the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Then when the whole universe is destroyed, then we stay in the navel of Mahavishnu. When new universe is created, then we are sent out again, like that. That's one of the reasons why he's called Narayana. And Vishnu, the word means all-pervading. He is in every atom, like you see Kshirodaksha Vishnu. He occupies every atom, he occupies every heart of living being. So it's called as Vishnu. So that is a literal meaning I am telling you. And when it comes to Vaikuntha, in Vaikuntha, the Lord and his eternal associates, like Lakshmi and all the associates. If you read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary for the 3rd canto, 15th chapter, there are some activities given in Vaikuntha, what happens. Like Lakshmi, she goes to a pond. There is a very beautiful Pushkarani there. There are steps cascading to the pond. So she goes down. When she looks at the pond, she goes to wash her face. In the pond, there is a blue lotus. So her face becomes bluish. Face appears bluish in the water. She's wondering, has my face become blue because of my association with Narayana? Either she is thinking. But the bluishness comes because of the blue lotus. So that was one thing he says. And then he says, after decorating herself very nicely, she sings songs along with her associates. Sometimes she sits in a swing and swinging. But even while swinging also, she remembers Narayana and sings his names. Generally, when we swing, we forget to chant any holy names because we are in a jolly mood. So generally when they're jolly. But even in a jolly mood, she doesn't forget to utter the Lord's names. Then she sits with all her associates and makes garlands of tulasi to be offered to Lord Narayana, it is said. So the Vaikuntha is filled with varieties of festivals and services by the devotees for Lakshmi Narayan. And that is one thing. And also Lakshmi Narayan and the associates, they have many conversations and talks also we find there. For example, one time to the door of Vaikuntha, 4 Kumaras came. At that time, there was a small altercation between Jaya Vijay and the 4 Kumaras. So Lord Vishnu comes there. So at that time, both the parties got little frightened because Lord is highly respectable. There were some servants holding the umbrella for Lord, and Lord didn't come alone. He came with Lakshmi also. He came with a smile on his face. So when they both saw the Lord, and Jaya Vijay thought that maybe we raised our tone. Hearing our sound, Lord has come. We did a mistake, they thought. Kumaras also thought we should not have cursed these servants. Now the Lord may come and ask us, how will we answer, they were thinking. But surprisingly, Lord smiled at 4 Kumaras. And the Kumaras became satisfied. Lord is not upset with us. Then Lord turned to Jaya Vijay and smiled at them also. That is why it is said that Premavaloka kalaya hridi samsprishantam, it is said. Samsprishantam means Lord touched the heart of Jaya Vijay as well as Kumaras also, both of them. And then Lord speaks to Kumaras, you find. So there Chakravarti Thakur writes that in Vaikuntha, different fellows come who are not even devotees. Like for example, Durvasa Muni. They are given a very special entry. For example, in our altar, sometimes in Radha Madhava altar, some painting has to be done or repair of the wood has to be done. You allow some fellows to go inside who are not second initiated. Correct, no? But they are given special permission, only for the sake of work. Like that, Durvasa was allowed into Vaikuntha, like that. So Durvasa or Kumaras. So in this way, Lord Vishnu's conversation with some personalities, or with the devotees, or with Lakshmi, or the festivals they celebrate, services they do, these are the things that are explained in the scriptures. We get some idea. They have Vaikuntha airplanes where they fly, they engage in. There are 64 kalas originating from Radharani. There is one verse which says that Rasalasya Gita Narma Sat Kalali Pandita Prema Ramya Rupa Vesha Sadgunali Mandita Vishwavandya Yauvata Vivandita Piyarama Mahyam Atma Pada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika. It says that Radharani is the best singer, she's the best dancer, best mimicry performer, best decorator, best rangoli drawer, best cook, best in everything. So from her comes the 64 kalas, and they also come to Vaikuntha. From Vaikuntha they come to heavenly planets. From heavenly planets they come to earth also. So with these 64 kalas, the living entities get opportunity to engage in Lord's service in varieties of ways. So we can get some understanding of Vaikuntha being on earth. To get a little glimpse we can get, but we cannot fathom the spiritual world with our tiny brain in this world. But this glimpse is good enough for us. When we see that there is one, you can put 2 words in the Veda base, Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. Vaikuntha thinking, you can put Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha thinking. Immediately you will get one purport. You will get in 7th canto there is no purport. Prabhupada says that everyone wants to serve the Supreme Lord in spiritual world. Everyone wishes to serve the Supreme Lord. Everyone respects other devotees. They never condemn the service of other devotees. They are never envious of one another. And everyone serves according to one's capacity, and other living beings appreciate one another in spiritual world. So very, very beautiful purport it is. So we come to understand the sweet nature of living entities as well as the Lord and the relationship of Lord and the jivas. So in this way, when we read Bhagavatam different sections, we get a little glimpse of the spiritual existence in Vishuddha Sattva. All right? Anybody else? Here. Oh, it's working now? I can give it.
Wonderful class, Prabhu. You mentioned how the prarabdha karma is reduced if we intensify our japa. I urge our sadhana practices, and do you have a specific, I experienced that as well, but do you have any specific references to support that?
Yeah, it is there in the 6th canto. It says, Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayanaha agham dunmanti kartsnena niharamiva bhaskaraha. So this verse says that chanting the holy name of the Lord is the only sure short way by which one can even remove the proclivity for committing sin and then subsequently even ignorance also. So, for example, when my chanting is superficial, I can destroy the sinful reactions. When my chanting is little more deeper, I can stop performing sinful activities. When my chanting is little more deeper, then I can burn away the sinful seeds. Then when my chanting is even more deeper, then I can counteract the kutam or the proclivity for committing sin. Then when my chanting becomes extremely intense, deep, I forget the external world, I become totally absorbed in it, then I can eradicate ignorance also. So there is a very beautiful sentence His Holiness Dhanudhar Maharaj writes in his book. He says, chanting of the holy names of Krishna, it destroys sinful reactions, it burns away the sinful seeds, counteracts the sinful proclivity, and uproots ignorance. So in this way it goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper as we chant. On the other hand, I'll show you another verse from Bhagavatam. Yunjananam bhaktanam pranayamadi virmanaha akshina vasanam rajan drishyate punaruttitam. It says, akshin means without the vasanas, karma vasanas in the mind, without them having become cleansed. Akshina vasanam rajan drishyate, it is observed, punaruttitam means comes again. Like I take a scissor and trim the grass. It appears it's gone. Next day morning, it comes back. Again, you trim, comes back again. Similarly, you have a glass of water, all the dust is settled down. That's how pranayama helps. Pranayama can settle the impurities, but it cannot uproot the impurities. Chanting of the holy name can uproot the impurities. This we should preach in every yoga studio. We should go and tell them. Your pranayama cannot uproot the impurities, anarthas. Only holy name can uproot. Pranayama can settle it. If it settles, take a spoon, stir it, again it comes up. And that's what happened to Saubhari Muni, that's what happened to Vishwamitra, all of them like that. So, but the holy name can eradicate completely. And if any devotee tells you, Prabhuji, I am chanting holy name, still many anarthas are there, that's because it is not sufficiently deep. The deeper the chanting of the holy name, intense it is, then the purification is assured up to the point of eradicating ignorance, which is the source of all other problems.
So,
Where's the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry, got it. So the verse number, Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya, is that one?
Correct.
Okay. And then in Dhanadhar Swami's Waves of Devotion. Okay. And is there a specific reference? I think that's coming from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
Oh, it's all from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu only, yeah. Correct. Actually, this what I am quoting is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu only. Maharaj very nicely summarizes it. Although in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu it is given in separate verses, Maharaj summarizes everything in one verse. Not one verse, one line. They just drawn some pictures and shown also. Yeah, thank you. You are a teacher, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Prabhu is a Bhakti Shastri teacher. Those of you who are getting late, you may proceed. I will take another 5 minutes. Then I will.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, quoting, Prabhu, there is a gradual promotion of one's situations in the spiritual life of sannyasa, Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajikacharya and Paramahamsa. One can easily understood, everybody knows simply sannyasa and Paramahamsa. What are the Kutichaka and Bahudaka stages, Prabhu?
Kutichaka means the man lives in the same village in a separate cottage. He doesn't live with wife in the home. He makes a cottage in the same village in one corner. But his wife comes to deliver dabba prasadam for him regularly. She will come and give prasad and go, he will accept. And then he is making an effort to live away from the wife and then trying to stay and giving a try, whether it is possible or not, you want to check. Because some people go back again. But if it works out for him, then afterward Bahu Udaka means he will tell his wife, Dabba Prasad is over now, no more. Now I will go home to home and accept alms. Then he starts accepting alms like Madhukari. He will do that. That he will try. Once he succeeds in that also, he is able to survive in that, with that little arrangement, then he can go on with his spiritual life. Then he goes to Parivrajaka, which means he doesn't stay in one village. He goes village to village to village. He simply does bhajan of the Lord, kirtan of the Lord, and then people welcome him and give him some charity, alms, survives. And then he becomes Paramahamsa eventually. All right? Because he is Vanaprastha, he is thinking of it, I think. Prabhuji. Yeah. In Pune, we have one IVSS, you know that? ISKCON Vanaprastha Sevak Sangha. We have 85 Vanaprasthas like you in that. So 20 of them come every day. Morning they come for the Mangalarti, till night they stay, and then night they go back to their home, which is nearby. So our temple is like the Kutichaka for them. Of course, wife doesn't bring prasad. For wife and husband, we provide prasad for both from temple only. But yeah, it's a practice to keep away from home and do more service in temple. Yeah. Yes?
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. So, Prabhuji, you showed that video of deer getting into the jaws of crocodile.
No, he didn't get into jaws. He escaped.
He escaped, yes.
Yeah.
So, Prabhu, my question is, when we are holding any managerial position, we are surrounded by conflicts and backbiting. So, in that case, it's very easy to have issues, misunderstanding with devotees.
Therefore, managers have to have more serious bhajan to become like shock absorbers, to be able to take boom, boom, load comes from all sides. Unless we are strong enough, we can't take it. There was one manager in one temple, he got so much blown off by management. He went to Vrindavan and grew beard, and he became Babaji there. So when we went for yatra, I know that fellow before. So when we were going for yatra, on the opposite side he was coming. I immediately crossed the road and I asked, I don't want to mention his name here. I asked him, hey, are you that devotee? He smiled and said, how did you recognize? Now I have a grown beard and everything, hair, everything. I asked, why have you become like this? He said, got fried out with management, he's saying. Because he didn't study enough, he didn't do chanting enough. So therefore, we can't take so much load on our shoulders unless we keep our purification program well. Otherwise, we will become offensive. There is one verse in 11th canto which says, Parasvabhava karmani yah prasansati na nindati sahyashu brashyate swartat asati abhiniveshataha. Our mind will become absorbed in temporary things if we criticize other people's activities or their nature. So manager has a lot of opportunity to compare the devotees, he is good, he is bad, he is lazy, he is crazy and all that. So we have to be very careful. Actually, we have to do it in an objective way, in an inoffensive way in management. Therefore, I actually, many of my training programs are, like if you go to our training program called MALT, MALT, it's there in my playlist, you will find it in my channel. MALT actually stands for Managers and Leaders Training Program. So, what is this MALT? One of my seniors joked with me, he said, is it ragi malt? He said, I will drink your ragi malt and become strong. He said, then I can manage anybody, he was telling. So, this malt training is 40 topics, each 2 hours. It's all from Srimad Bhagavatam and CC. From that we draw lessons for managers' life. The whole idea is what? We have to learn to see from Bhagavatam perspective, the management situation. That's the best way to deal with it in a spiritual way. And that is good for us, good for them also. Now it's getting late, you all have to
Thank
go.
you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai.
Jai.